let me ask you a question. What are you doing to set yourself apart from other people? What are you doing to add value? Okay? And exceed expectations. That's the topic of this week's On Your Power clip. The power that comes from exceeding expectations. Now, let me give you an example of exceeding expectations. So as you can imagine, we're always raising money for deals that we're buying. One of the ways that we exceed expectations with our passive investors and our deals is to underpromise and to overdeliver. So, when our returns exceed what's expected, they're of course, they're never going to go anywhere else. So we're also very communicative, and we work with our investors about what's going on behind the scenes so that they can learn, and understand what they're investing in. And so with that said, when we focus on massively adding value and exceeding expectations, it sets us apart. Now, in fact, on that note, if you're an accredited investor, please reach out to us. We've got an exciting asset right now under contract in Bradenton, Florida. Bradenton, Sarasota, where I live. It's a 92-unit add value property, and you can partner with us. We're actively taking investors on the deal right now. Now, you have to be accredited. Now, obviously, the growth rate here in Florida is off the charts, and we're really excited about this asset. Now, if you want to get more information, text the word partner to 41411, and we can chat about it. Again, that's partner to 41411 if you're an accredited investor. All right, let's get to it. Today I said we're going to talk about the power that comes from doing more than what's expected. In other words, exceeding expectations. Now in today's fast-paced world, I'm going to have some coffee. Hold on one second. In today's fast-paced world, with so many people that are interconnected through social media and this incredible digital landscape that we have, how does somebody stand out? How do they get recognized in all the noise? How does somebody separate themselves in the minds and the eyes of, the people that matter from their competition, right? So how you do that, you exceed expectations. And we're going to talk about that, how to set yourself apart. And so why is this important in the multifamily space? Because when you're out there developing relationships with real estate brokers and property management lenders and partners and prospective team members for your business and investors, exceeding their expectations sets you apart from everybody else. Now, in this multifamily business, you have to work to develop relationships for your future. And the right relationships become lifelong and ultimately pay off in huge ways. Now, on your path to financial success and freedom, do you think that journey is going to happen more quickly and more easily if you're adding value to those people on your team? These people that you're aligning with? Let me ask you another question. Who do people want to deal with? The person that does the bare minimum just to get the job done, or the person that wows them? Now, of course, I know this is common sense, but then why do so few people do it? Now, if you're at a W-2 job, who at that job usually gets promoted? The person that just goes through the day and does the bare minimum that they have to do? Or the person that's always there to help other people? Always does more than they have to do? Obviously, we know the answer. So the point here is always go above and beyond, my friend. If you have a W-2 job, focus on working at the level of pay that you want, not where you're being paid, because then ultimately you'll get there. So how else do you set yourself apart in all the noise? How can you go above and beyond and exceed expectations at a level that you get noticed? Let me give you some awesome examples. Maybe you've heard me interview on my podcast the sales legend Tom Hopkins. I've had him a couple times. On our interviews, he talked about the importance of a personal touch and how handwritten notes have become a thing of the past. Now, I've interviewed him twice, like I said, and a few days after each interview, I get this beautiful handwritten card from Mr. Hopkins, and I'm just delighted to get them. And he's influenced hundreds of thousands of people to utilize that gesture to stand out in the noise. And since those interviews, I've gotten literally hundreds of handwritten thank you notes. In fact, you can see a handful of them behind me there. I love getting them, and I keep them, and I put them on the wall. You can't even see them all. I've got literally hundreds and hundreds of them. Now, another example is sending people small gifts. Literally this last Saturday, I got 5 gifts in the mail from different coaching students and other people whose lives I've impacted that just wanted to send me some love. And, these are people I'm never going to forget. So these are examples of what I'm talking about. Think about how you can do more than expected and add even more value to the people in your life. It just takes a little bit more time to go a little bit above and beyond what's expected. When you add value to people you meet, then of course you're going to be valued. So when you establish a new relationship, I want you to think to yourself, how can I add value to this person? What can I do to help them? You know, if you go through life this way, adding value to the people you meet, your life, your world, your reach expands, massively expands. And I'll give you another simple example. I go to boot camps every year. In fact, I did a picture of me with my arms wide out and had hundreds of lanyards from the boot camps that I've been to around my neck and on my arms. And, you know, and I did that to start a conversation or a discussion around college education versus the non-traditional path that I took. Now, so I also happen to be a very fast typist, and I take very good notes. I use mind mapping software, and I mind map everything, and then I download what I capture to a Word document, and I end up with really comprehensive notes that are laid out really well. And frankly, I do this because I don't have the greatest memory. But what I'll do at these boot camps is I'll tell people, listen, give me your email and I'll send you my notes, and it'll help you retain what you've learned. And as a result of sending my notes to the people I've met, I've developed hundreds of relationships. So this is an example of adding value. Now, I know that you know the old adage, what you give comes back tenfold, and it's a universal truth. So what can you do in your interactions with the people you meet and do business with that'll exceed their expectations? I want you to always be thinking about this so you set yourself apart. How can you do it just a little bit better? Now, I love this story. Okay, I got to meet Tony Hsieh, the CEO of Zappos, at a Tony Robbins Business Mastery event. If you don't know, Zappos is known around the world. They sell shoes, but they're known around the world for their customer service and exceeding expectations. Tony Hsieh told me a story about being at a party in San Francisco late at night, and he overheard these two women who were slightly drunk talking about his company, Zappos. Now, they were discussing that, and it was late at night, and they were discussing that they wanted to order pizza, and one woman said to the other, I'm going to call my rep at Zappos. And the other one, they both started laughing, and they actually called the rep at Zappos and told her she wanted a pizza. Now, Tony found out later after listening to the recording, because they record their calls, of course, that the rep started laughing and then said, you know, we sell shoes, right? But then the rep immediately said, let me see what I can do. Where are you and what kind of pizza do you want? Now, I know you know where this is going. You know, the lady had the rep had the lady's credit card on file, and sure enough, a pizza showed up. Now, that is freaking exceeding expectations. Now, I want to give you a personal example from me. I talk about this at my live events. But back when I love to go fishing, and I have a boat, you know, and I go offshore. And back years ago, when I really didn't know what I was doing, I was still a little green regarding fishing and boating in general. I purchased these Star rods, these really expensive fishing poles. They're by a company called Star brand rods. They're awesome. I mean, you can get 1,000-pound fish, and they curve, and they're just amazing rods. But they're about $300 or $400 a piece. And I had put them in the Top Gun boat pole holders in my boat. So they're way up high. They're sticking out over the boat. And I forgot about them when I went under a low bridge. And I broke off the tip off all three of my poles. And I was not a happy freaking camper. So I called Star Rods and I said, you know, they're really mangled. And they said, well, send them back. We'll take a look. Well, you can imagine how freaking psyched I was when a few days later, I get 3 brand new fishing poles back in the mail. And I, of course, I'm a Star Rods customer now for life because they massively exceeded my expectations. In fact, that experience was so impactful on me, you know, that I try to model my customer service by my company by those same principles. You know, our core values include integrity and massively exceeding expectations. Even in my boot camps, you'll get lots of unexpected gifts. Again, exceeding expectations. By the way, still got early bird pricing for Orlando. If you text the word multifamily to 41411 or go to rodinorlando.com, I'd love to see you there. So again, how can you give more than is expected? How can you stand out from all the other people that are out there and stand out from the noise and seek out and cause people not just to notice you, but to actively seek you out and want to do business with you? The answer is exceeding expectations. I'm Rod Cleef, wishing you incredible passion and massive success because you focused on adding value and exceeding expectations to everyone you met. Take care, my friends. See ya. Oh, how do I turn this thing off? Stop streaming.